Good morning, everybody. So, my name is Carlos Baruki. Is it the first time here now? Yes? Okay. So, Carlos Baruki and the others, then you introduce yourself, please. Okay. So, we're going to be dedicating about 40, 50 minutes to talk about something that everybody experiences, right? Everybody goes through a process of pain in some point in this existence. But very rarely we have time and opportunity to discuss pain. A few can do psychoanalysis, the great majority cannot do it. Some read about it, other grasp one thing here, one thing there from different books. And it's up to us to build up the mosaic because it's not part of our upbringing. Chances are nobody here have had a conversation fully developed about pain at home, at school, in any preparatory course that you're getting. Because we don't talk much, we don't read much, as if it were a theme that is reserved to a few, like psychologists, doctors, psychiatrists. But this is something that is common to everybody, so it should be subjects of a conversation in many, many recurrent occasions. I've been reading about it with lots of scattered notes, and I'm going to be sharing with you what I have done with my notes in order to make up a presentation, right? It's not a coincidence that we are dealing with two books that are really centered on the problem of pain. Heaven and Hell is one of the books, right? In English, the course, and The Problem of the Being and the Destination, that has a huge part talking about pain. And as we have seen also in several initial introductory readings by Joanna, we have something related to pain. That's not the first time, right? In addition to this, we have to go back to our lives and see what kind of pains we experience, be it physical, emotional, spiritual. Is that okay? So, what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be going through some of the passage that we have already been exposed, extract the element of pain. Then I will go through which are the 15 or 17 things that we know about Spiritism. Then I'm going to go to Joanna and Leon Denis and get some sentences which will give us the illusion that they are fully developed because their sentence appear in several chapters. I didn't get one chapter specific for them to talk only about pain. And then I went to the literature, which is a medical literature, so that we can start putting the things together. And it's going to be like a sample of the seminar that's going to happen about spiritism, spirituality, and well-being. So this is the journey we're going to have here, okay? The image that I put here, I've tried to match image with part of the text so that we can retain somehow the information, okay? And generally, when we talk about pain in this house, we have already clarified that most people got stuck in the why, trying to find the cause, and with difficulties to transition into the what for mode, which is the reason why, what's the purpose, okay? We're going to be trying to link why and what for with how in between, what we can do to manage that. Is that okay? So let's see if I continue here. Well, now basically, these are the books that I'm talking to. The introduction that we have today is coming from Happy Life, Joanna De Angelis. Jesus in Our Days, Plenitude and Times of Health and Consciousness by Jonah De Angelis. And that's the one that we are studying. We're going to start the second chapter. Okay? In addition to that, I'm bringing things that I got from scientific articles. This is one that I put the symbol of CK. It's a psi, right? Which is the CK, the psychic part of it, which in Greek means mind and soul. It's one word in Greek for the two things that we express in Portuguese with two words, mind and soul, right? And finding purpose in pain, that's the article that I'm exploring. It is written by several doctors, okay? Also, using this, which is a journal of religion and health, so that we can get the package of what we have here from the Spiritist point of view, and what we have here from the scientific liaising with the spiritual aspect of it, independent of a specific religion. Okay, so in the two articles, we don't have anything saying this is coming from Muslim, this is coming from Judaism, this is coming from Catholicism. No, it is a spiritual approach. Okay? And I hope that we can do well with this. Let's start here. We know a couple of things so far about Spiritism, and this is going to be my starting point. Okay? We know that we have Trinity in Spiritism, but not the Trinity that we know in the Roman Catholic Church. Right? It's not Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. In Spiritism, we have God, and in the other two angles, we have the spiritual side of it that starts with the intelligent principle, right? And then the material principle. So God, with these two elements, is going to be creating things, right? And we know that God is absolute expression of love, justice, mercifulness, and perfection, and it is the source of all. We know that the Spirit is a creature of God and is destined to relative perfection because the absolute one is God, which means that the Spirit is an entity that is perfectible of purification and dematerialization. And we know that the permanent house of the Spirit is the spiritual world. And it's going to have some temporary house in the material world. Right? From these three things, we can already know that if the Creator is God and if the Spirit is the creature, the Spirit is destined to go to that pattern of high love, high justice, high level of perfection to reflect the Creator. Right? And as any creature, as we have in the world of animals and human beings, all creatures would like one day to be with the Creator. It happens, right? I'd like to know who my biological father is. So all creatures, they look for the one that have provided the blessing of life. We know that there are more than one world. And we know that the Spirit is going to be reincarnating in Earth. It's one place for the process of their existence, but it's not the only one. We may be in any other place, right? I just separated reincarnation for us to understand first that re, is not only again, but it comes from thing. So the reincarnation happens in the material world because that is the word res in Latin, which means thing. Okay? Like Republica, things of the public, right? Incarnation comes from flesh. Right? We have the word carne in Portuguese. So it is the materialization. Just for us to refresh a little bit here. And we know that the spirit was created simple, ignorant, and when to talk about it, we have a very fluidic, ethereal part that is linked to a hardware or a very physical part called body, and in between, which is the cross-reference table, the software, which is the perispirit. So the three, they are in process of perfectibility. The earth, we know that's not the highest evolved world. The spirit is not born high evolved. So both of them align, they bear imperfection. If they bear imperfection, it means they have lots of materialization. And materialization that physically we have germs, bacteria, virus, and all the aggressors. And the spirit itself is also in consonance, in tandem with this. So no surprise that pain is part of. Because if they're not perfect, they are going to go through the imperfection and feel the imperfection painfully, be it psychologically, emotionally, or physically. And we know that the perispirit, by using the cosmic fluid of the house, the temporary house, earth, creates the spirit. In other words, I may have a pain that's not necessarily linked to a moral thing, but maybe linked for a psychological initial stage of life. Because you may say, I have a pain in my ankle. Does it mean that I have a moral defect? Perhaps my pain in my ankle is just for me to learn how to walk, paying attention to, be patient, tolerant, in know where exhaustion, right? To frame me from over-exercise. So it is always a learning experience, but we cannot reduce it that every physical thing is related to a problem in the spirit. The spirit uses the cosmic fluid manipulated to organize my body biologically. So perhaps if I have a problem in the hips, it's because the hips is going to be teaching me something through its pain that I'm going to be developing, be it intellectually, be it emotionally, or who knows, spiritually. It depends. Okay? I'm saying this because Leon Denis is going to be saying the honest and the culpable are all of them suffering in this world. For not, in other words, to say, do not take the easiest road to say that the person is suffering because there is a moral problem. Okay? And earth and spirit imperfection in the process of elevation, we know that there will be transformations, and I'm going to generate new versions of myself as a spirit, the same way as the cells generate new cells, and the earth generates better conditions for the earth itself to go to a more elevated level, materially speaking. And we know that we have three processes when we are on earth, which is trial, expiation, missions. And all of the three include pain. Because when I come as missionary, I'm going to be going to the process that are possible, whose burden I can carry and hold, but it's going to be stretching my process of purification. One of the reasons Jesus was the hugest missionary that we have seen here, and he went through. He was not paying back, but he was stretching to show, right? Now, in all of this story that I told so far, there is one element that is free will, right? Which means that by choosing, doing the choosing and making the choice, I'm going to be learning, okay? And we know as well that for me to transform myself, for me to learn and go towards my Creator, I'm going to be in an ascending journey of getting rid of vices to acquire virtue until get closer to the absolute virtue, which is the Creator. Is that so far everything that we have learned so far, right? And then we know that the choices that I'm doing, they are based consciously or unconsciously on the moral laws. And I'm going to go from a period from automation to high level of elevation of consciousness. And the higher I go, the better my choices, right? So I'm going to be approximating or keeping away from the moral laws. And then that's the 10th moral law, the one that sums up all the previous one, which is expression of God in absolute terms. And we know that without this, we cannot save or get rid of, dematerialize, and be in a state of relative perfection and full of joy. Okay? So this is our journey that we know from Spirit. And in this process, sometimes we're going to be learning through the love path and through the painful path. Is that okay? So this is a class very quickly of Spiritism. Now, let's come here. Isaiah, oops, not here. I thought it was there. That is funny. I thought this, okay. So Bible and gospel, they say that we are immersed in God. Remember that is the maximum expression, absolute of love, justice, mercifulness, right? And Joanna the Angelus, in one chapter, this is one message, 7-1, she says, you are immersed in the ocean of God's love. So she's just refreshing our mind what Isaiah told before and Luke told before. You are never alone. God is within and all around you. So it's in and out. Discover him and let him lead you with wisdom. You are his heir. So we're going to be inheriting, owner of the universe. Let his love permeate you completely, the importance of love in this process, guiding your will, what I wish, what I want, and your steps, how I'm going to be walking, enabling you to grow with little or no suffering. So just by reading this is, if you let God guide, my choices are going to go closer to the moral law, and there will be little or no suffering, right? And in God, you find everything, attaining completeness. Isn't it very assertive? And then we have to say, okay, these are the words that she says that I highlighted, right? Immersed, never alone, within, around. I have to discover him. He has wisdom, right? So here, and there will be no suffering. And then we say, okay, why am I reluctant to God's lovely and wise guide? which ultimately allows me to grow with little or no suffering. It is very clear, and I'm reluctant, right? So the question is it there or no? Uh, why don't my steps follow his will? We have to ask this, right? Am I searching what is essentially necessary? Because something is taking me out of the route. And if I go out of the route, I'm getting away from the moral laws, away from what is necessary and essential for my growth, and I'm creating vulnerability to suffering. Right? And then Joanna goes deeper. And when Joanna goes deeper, it's like killing with a knife. It is like killing me softly, right? But not with the sound. The sentiments of love, justice, charity, and gratitude are inherent in human nature because as a natural heir of the good, the noble, and the beautiful. However, because human nature is still lagging in the acquisition of its value, is more connected atavistically, like recurrently insisting on the very same thing, to the primitive instincts. These qualities do not manifest and must be cultivated with effort until they are automatically expressed as a result of one's inner evolution. So we still have to stop, learn, exercise, talk, attend the lecture, do courses, practice, right? For one day, it become a natural trait of our personality, reflecting the Creator and showing that we are the legitimate heir with inheritance. Consequently, the troubling manifestation of aggression, rebelliousness, and ingratitude are more common. Maintaining a bellicose, like war, battlefield, right? Emotional and mental climate among humans. So we create adverse conditions. That's gonna be, of course, giving us a hard time. And not little or no suffering, lots of suffering, right? And she continues, ingratitude, a form of contempt, of disdain, is a serious imperfection of the soul. It needs to be corrected. Ingrates are sickly individuals that burn the flames of badly disguised pride and perverse dissatisfaction. They attribute all rights and merits to themselves, denying the benefactor the least consideration and acknowledge. So we claim our victory, we claim the things we do. Very rarely we think that I've done together with somebody, be it incarnate or discarnate, right? Because it has to do with this disguised pride. Ingratitude is a festering, like fester of matter, of pus, right? Decaying matter, moral sore. Individual that debilitates the surrounding social organism. Thus, ingrates are numerous. They are always proud and self-sufficient, although morbidly dependent on the sacrifice of others. Right? And she is very good to tell us that Jesus, he did all of this. He healed, process of healing of lepers, of blind people, of deaf, of mute person, paralytics, cataleptics, hemorrhagic, and there is no apostle saying that they were there on the day that he died on the Calvary. Right? Okay, just one out of 10. Isn't it funny? And so she says that we are creating conditions, because it's a choice. It's a choice, right? They were given the opportunity of healing. right? But if healing does not come with gratitude, they're going to be coming back. But she mentions like this, right? And we're going to see that a soul wound is more than ordinary emotional pain. It's a profound inner injury that affects how we think, how we feel, how we love, how we live. Often lingering lasts a long time after the initial trauma had passed. And we have these wounds can arise from trauma, such as neglect, abuse, or abandon, heartbreak or betrayal, loss or grief, or even ancestral and generational trauma passed down through family, right, lines. So it's sort of collective, okay? Remember that the ones that are similar, they are go in flock, right? So they can also result from experience that disconnect a person from his or her true purpose, intuition, or spiritual connection. It means when we are lost in life. And then we look back, not even our footprint are identifiable any longer because the situation have already changed. I cannot even trace back. So this is a total disconnection. And Leon Denis is going to be saying these things to us. What if there were no pain? And then he's going to say, if there are no pain, there is no society. Because if each individual is not a complete image of the Creator, we need each other. We're going to be choosing wrongly. And because we each other individually make mistake, we have to feed each other and prevent not to repeat by copying what you do well and you copy what I'm doing well so that society can be created. By myself, I will never go to see my Father, the Creator, because I'm a limited version of the Creator. I need to be exposed to the other limited versions. And limitation has a pain because I have to accept that I am not all. I'm part of. Okay? Love and work would not develop because he says that society evolved just because of pain. Everything that we created was to solve a pain. Not only medicine, everything, engineering. So there was a hardship, there were lots of tears, there were lots of sweat, there are lots of pain, and then society started working, putting love and work together and develop. So progress is the result of pain. Not only, but is also a result of pain. Okay? We will not have no warnings for excess. I know that I have exceeded in chocolate because I have a painful stomach ache and diarrhea. So that is refraining me not to repeat. So pain is telling me, stop, stop, stop. This is true, right? If I continue choosing the wrong type of person to be my wife, I will repeat my story. Because I'm projecting perhaps an emptiness that I have instead of solving it on somebody else. And then the very famous thing, I'm not going to be able to live without you. And the person said, so you were dead before, and I came and I resuscitate you because you lived before, right? So you were able to, right? Nobody like to find a corpse, right? To get married, right? We have no merit other than the pain. So the idea that I did it, because it comes to a point that we believe I am entitled to. And when we are entitled to, we're going to be saying, do you know who I am? Right? Because I'm very important. I'm entitled to, do you know who I am? And the other one says, oh, he has lost memory. I have to remind him who he was. Right? Okay? So, usefulness of pain, he's going to be telling us this. It's a law of education and equilibrium. Right? General agent for development. So I have to understand that the pain is going to make better. It's not going to destroy me, period. Sorrow resides in us. With our will, we can control it. So it is up to us to deal with it. We're going to see how we're going to be dealing. Pain shows us that our world is transitory, passage away, and ephemeral. Because pain is not forever. But what about if the person serves until the death? Okay, morten is not forever. It's just passage. Okay? Pain creates moments of reflection and self-awareness. And pain is a relief to our heavy and regretful conscience. It's a way of saying, I have to redo, I have to repair. I'm not going to be burdened and carrying this any longer and increasing the load. Okay? And then we're going to go to pain is still necessary while selfishness and personal interest govern society. So we are in an imperfect world, and that's the world. It's still necessary to have pain. Okay? And pain shows us the power of truth faith, because we have to sublime it. And then he goes this way. Men search everywhere upon your route, our route, for invisible beings, powerful and good, who are traveling beside us. In the difficult passage, their might powerful vibration will sustain your trembling steps. Open your soul to them, put your thoughts in accordance with their thoughts, and soon you will feel the joy of their presence. So we forget that we are not alone. We forget that. And this soul that is with me, call it protector, call it guardian angel, call it whatever, is the one that's going to be guiding and telling me and soothing me and making the burden less heavy in this case, right? So we forget this. We think that we are not with somebody helping us. We play the victim. I had nobody to help me. We reinforce that, right? And he says, learn how to suffer. I do not say seek sorrow, right? But when it comes, it stands inevitably in your path. Receive it like a friend. Learn to appreciate its austere beauty. To seize it is a secret knowledge. Seize it is. This is my mistake. You study its hidden works. We have to study pain. We have to talk about pain, compare pain, associate with people that also have pain. Right? Associate your will with the aim fixed by sorrow and seek to draw from it all the profit it can offer to a spirit or a heart. Force yourself to be an example for others by your acceptance. This is the mistake. This is me, almost sleeping as usual, right? Your courage and confidence in the future. So whenever we are feeling pain, we have to go out and help people that are in pain and not ask the world to look at us, converging all the attention to us as if we were the only individual in pain. This help a lot with people that they start opening foundations, institution for those who have the same problem, and open an avenue of gathering people and helping each other. Right? And he goes, if in the hours of trials we know how to watch the mysterious actions of sorrow in ourselves, we would better comprehend its sublime work of education. Sorrow always strikes our most sensitive point. The hand which directs the chisel, like the sculpture, is that if an incomparable artist. It never wearies until all the angles of our characters are rounded and polished, right? In the classic image of the self-made person, right? So we are going to go through the painful process until we get round up. There is still an angle that's putting me under this circumstance, right? Am I learning not to victimize myself? Am I learning to give time its space? Am I learning not to be the center of attention? And I'm still trying to drive the attention towards me. What am I learning in this process? Right? Yeah. Okay. So we have here, what else? And then he's going to be saying, the sorrow. He's going to be saying, all living things suffer on earth, nature, animals, and man. Nevertheless, now he's going to be linking love and sorrow. And then he's going to be linking thought and sorrow. And then he's going to be linking truth and links that we do not set normally. Right? He says physical pain produces sensations. Moral suffering produces sentiments. But sensations and sentiments become one in the inner sensorium. Sensorium is the entire sensory apparatus of my organism, the perispirit. So both, they are registered in my perispirit, both the physical and the sentimental one. Our idea of happiness or happiness, joy or sadness varies infinitely according to my evolution. Do I feel myself miserable or not? Right? Do I feel myself as overcoming a step or once again being treated badly by life? It depends on how it was my evolution. Misfortunes and anguish are needed to give the soul its richness, its moral beauty, and to awaken its sleeping senses. Sorry does not then strike only the culpable. And that's the sense of that sentence that I mentioned before. Honest men suffer as much as the wicked. Okay? Because an honest man, it doesn't mean that he is patient, he is tolerant, that he is merciful. He's just honest. It's one aspect. There are several corners to be rounded up. Okay? Yeah. Then here, what is that? This is my mistake in highlight. Love is dressed in infinite forms, from the most ordinary to the most sublime. When God allows pain, it's an act of love. Isn't it weird to say? So he'd like me to suffer? No, he'd like you to be right. And while you are not right, doing the right thing, you are suffering, be it physically, emotionally, or physically. Okay? Principle of universal life, love is an exhaustive source, right? Force. It constantly renews itself and at the same time enriches those who give it and who receive it. Perhaps my problem is love. I don't love and I'm not loved. Nothing to do with stealing, killing, murdering. I'm just on the wall. Perhaps that. Okay? Or I'm a person that I have all the resources and I don't do anything to alleviate anybody's suffering. Very honest, very clever. But your problem, pay attention, it's your. It's not my problem. Right? So let's continue here. It is by love, the Son of souls, that's his definition of love, that God acts in the world. And then he's going to be just putting kinds of love, right? And says that all these kinds, they penetrate into all beings. And have a look of study here and now. All the powers, right, of the soul are confined in three words: wish, know, and love. Perhaps I'm a person apathetic. I'm a person that just conform with life. I'm in the tolerate mode. I don't have a wish. Needless to say, I don't have a gratitude. It's impossible for this person to be grateful for. Okay? Or I think that what I know, it's enough. It's all. I believe that with my mind, I was able to grab the whole reality. It is what I have to learn with pain here. Less pride, humbleness, humility. The principle of complementary, of one giving and receiving simultaneously and reciprocally, right? And then he says, above all, it's important to love, for without love, will and science will be incomplete and sterile. You may take medicine, you may go through operations, you may do whatever. If there is not a will to control your progress, if to control your study and understanding the situation, to say what I'm learning here, what's part of my character that is evinced because of this pain, it's going to be sterile. Maybe the best hospital as well, right? So the notion of patient is not passiveness, right? Patient contributes to the healing process, okay? So all different kinds of loves that and then he's gonna go to the discipline of thought. With fashion, we fashion our soul in our envelope by our thoughts. So how we think the pain, we are molding it. They produce forms and images which are printed in the subtle material of which our etheric body is composed, the perispirit again. So the way that I see my sickness, the way that I see my anxiety is molding my perispirit. My thought is giving the dimension that the perispirit is going to be getting from this experience. So we have to start thinking how we think and how we verbalize what we think as far as pain is concerned. Because I am contributing to the recording process of it. It may be a distorted process. Perhaps my mind is excited sufficiently to distort it and magnify it. Okay? The control of thoughts lead to the control of actions. For if one is good, the other will be equally so. And harmony will regulate our lives. So how I see myself sick is how the other one is going to be perceiving myself sick. Right? So am I using my thought, am I using my verbiage to understand me, connect with others, God, to alleviate, or I'm connecting to God and to the others to making myself more and more in the spot? So what I'm learning here, is it lack of attention? Fear of abandonment? Or scarcity? I don't have a lover, I don't have a friend, I don't have money. The I don't is bigger inside me that makes my sickness bigger. Okay? And the prayer, which is the communion by thought with the Spirit divine universe. So prayer is thought, right? Is the reaching of the soul toward eternal beauty and truth. Now he's going to be putting truth in the equation. Love, thought, and we're going to be building truth. So basically, we are going to see that pain seems to be a constant companion in our personal way. Many people struggle with the idea that suffering can lead to understanding transformation. Most of us on earth, because of our condition, we do not understand pain as transformation and elevation. Because the pain is so big and we make it so big that it blinds the possibility of way out. Okay? It's a tough concept to embrace, especially when we are in the thick of it, right? When we are engaged and intensively immersed. We don't understand that we are immersed in God's love. We understand that we are immersed in pain. So pain takes control of my perception and how I perceive, I feel, and I live, right? And let's continue here. That's the three things put together. And psychological effects here that we have to go. So pain triggers various psychological response. It can foster spiritual growth. It is my opportunity to experience heightened self-awareness during the time of suffering. This awareness often leads to deep introspection and clarification of our beliefs. We never think that when we are in pain, we are recycling beliefs because the pain dominates us. But if I am in pain, I have to start thinking what I believe. And I'm not talking about believing God. What are the things that I believe? Do I believe that I'm a super person, that I cannot miss one day of work because things will not work well if I'm not there? This is a belief. And this is changing, right? Do I believe that it is time to work and family is going to come in 25 years when I'm retired? Perhaps there will be no family, right? But this is my belief. Okay? Do I believe that my friend, my wife needs 4 hours of me, but my job 12 hours? It's my belief. So it's not only the relationship supremely with God. That's the opportunity to say, if I have pain, what are my beliefs that's supporting me, that have driven me to this point, consciously or unconsciously? Let's assume that it's a genetic thing. The perispirit, the spirit manipulated the fluid to condition my genetic situation for me to experience in this existence what I need to adjust. So the fact that we are not aware, it is already a limitation and a suffering point. I'm not aware the reason why I came with less, just one organ instead of two kidneys. But it was done so for one reason. Okay? Pain can also foster a sense of empathy. We might find ourselves more capable of understanding others' struggles and offering support. I will never understand Fatima's pain if I never go through pain. I can imagine, but understand it sympathetically and empathically, never. I need to go through pain to understand somebody else's pain. And if we think all relationships start because each one is going through a process of pain that the other one, he or she believes it's going to be healed with the other. We think it's not just because we're compatible, because we like the very same thing, because we enjoy this. But what you're looking for as a spirit that the other one is offering, and you have not realized that, but you feel pleasure. Okay? And then we have research shows that when we endure hardship, we often develop increased resilience. We learn for the next one. So, what was a drama today? Next time, when it comes the same, I'm going to be saying, it was far easier now. But not because the situation was less complex, difficult, and painful. It's because you are far more prepared for that. The same way that we're going to be facing a new flu if I have the conditions in my body to neutralize the effect of the virus. Is it okay? I'm going to be stopping here because of time. There is more thing here. But I'm going to stop here and I'm going to go to the last thing here. Because otherwise you're going to be... As a matter of fact, I prepare more things because it was my... What do I do here to go back to? Whoops, like this, right? So, I'm just come back here. Which is this part that I think is very important, and this is good for us in Spirit Center here, right? Engaging with others who share similar beliefs or experience foster a sense of belonging that can be incredibly comforting. You don't feel the only pity one. The more I come and meet people, be it church, whatever, the more I see that it's common to go through pain. I'm not the victim. I'm not the one that is punished or picked. Okay? So this is so important for us. So whether through religion, congregation, support groups, or informal gathering, these connections create opportunity for shared reflection and healing. Okay? And community support encourages individuals to express their emotions openly without fear of judgment. No one must navigate their pain alone. Remember that there is somebody walking with us. We are never, never walking alone. All right? And we have this collective approach not only enhances individual healing, but also strengthens communal bonds, fostering empathy, compassion among members. Compassion is a healing process. When you see the other suffering and understand because you are suffering as well, you are in the healing process already. All right? And just for us to say is, we have to transcend that, try to get this connectivity with the divine. And it's not only prayer. It is just, we have to remember one thing that is always forgotten. We can always reach God's hands through our suffering brother's hand. That's why charity is salvation. Right? Sometimes we are on bed, sick, we're trying to reach God, and we are not even thinking about somebody in the very same condition or in worse condition. Or sometimes I'm magnified because of my thought, and I'm identified with the pain. And when we identify ourselves, the whole being, with the pain, there is no space for love because I'm made of pain. I'm not even loving myself. Okay? So next time I'll do ache number 2 and go to the scientific studies. Okay? But then I have to add something, because if you don't add something from spiritualism, they're going to say it's not a spirit center. This is the sole problem that we have of boxing everything. But I'm going to be remembered. This is a veil because you forgot what I said before. Thank you so much, people, and let's enjoy our Sunday. Okay? Okay, thank you. Venga, Fátima. Wow, take me aqui.